dear friends. Last time we have seen the transportation problem. What is the meaning of transportation problem? Today we are going to study the method of finding optimum solution of a transportation problem. As I told you in the last lecture that transportation problem, the method which we are going to study, the modified distribution method, needs the starting solution using some other approach, and those three approaches, that the methods of finding initial basic feasible solutions, we have studied. The namely three methods are northwest corner method, least cost method, and Vogel's approximation method. Okay, so today we start our lecture with the aim that how to find optimum solution using modified distribution method. Let us see on your screen. First of all, let us recall the mathematical form of transportation problem. To optimize, z is equal to sigma sigma Cij Xij, subject to the two types of constraints. Sigma Xij is equal to Ai, sigma Xij is equal to Bj. The first set of equations are known as supply equations, and second set of equations are known as demand equations. And such a TP or transportation problem is called M cross N type transportation problem, that is M origins or sources and N destinations, that is demand centers. Okay. Now to study the method of solving transportation problem, we need a very useful and very important concept, that is the concept of loop. As you can see on your screen, a loop is defined in this way: an ordered set L of at least 4 cells in the transportation table is called a loop if every row and column in the transportation table contains either 0 cells or 2 cells from the set L. Now let us understand this by the transportation table, which you can see on your screen. I have considered a 4 cross 4 type transportation problem, rather 5 cross 4 type TP, 5 origins and 4 destinations, means 5 supply centers and 4 demand centers. Now let us understand the meaning of loop in this table only. Such a table is called transportation table. Loop means a set of cells. One has to select some cells, not necessarily all cells. In fact, we cannot say select all cells. So we select a cell. First of all, the cell 1 2, as you can see that yellow spot, C12 is selected. Next I want to select C14. Then let us go to the next cell, C54. Next C51. So you just remember that order pair. First cell was 1 2, second is 1 4, third is 5 comma 4, means fifth row and fourth column. Then fourth one is 5 comma 1, fifth row and first column. Now I select C21, then C22, and then let us go back to the first cell, C12. Such a closed path is called a loop. Now this satisfies our definition. What was our definition? Our definition is a set of at least 4 cells. Here you can see there are 6 yellow circles. That means 6 cells are there. 6 cells are chosen, and this 6 cell set of 6 cells has this property that every row and every column in the transportation table, as you can see here, every row and every column either contains 2 number of cells or 2 yellow circles or no yellow circle. So number of cells from the set is either 2 or 0. Here it is 2 in the first row, in the second row again 2, third row does not contain any cell, so number of cells selected is 0. So it is a loop, it is a valid loop. And so this picture also indicates that the closed path need not be a square or a rectangle. It can be L shape also. This is inverted L shape. Now what is not a loop? Okay, this is the set notation of the loop. As I have written 1 comma 2, 1 comma 4, the cell positions. For example, you can go back. This is 1 2, cell 1 2, cell 1 4. So it is like this. So this is a loop. No cell is repeated. It is a set of 6 cells. So at least 4 is there, and it satisfies that condition, the number of cells from in any row and any column is either 0 or 2. Now let us consider this picture. This path is not a loop. Why? Because it does not satisfy our condition in the definition. The condition was every row and column of the table must contain either 2 or 0 cells. Here you can see in the second row there are 3 cells. So this set of cells you cannot consider as a loop. So this is not a loop. Okay. Now let us consider the applications. These are the two use or applications of loop. A loop is used to determine, means to identify which is outgoing variable from the basis in the transportation problem, and secondly to remove degeneracy in the transportation problem. This we will see during that Modi method, that how to use the concept of loop to find out which variable must leave the basis. Okay. So let us go to our main topic, modified distribution method. In short, we call it Modi method. It is not a Modi method, it is a Modi method. Okay. And in order to understand the Modi method, let us consider one example of 3 cross 4 type transportation problem. 3 cross 4 type means 3 origins and 4 destinations. Okay. The problem is on your screen, my dear friends. There are 3 rows and 4 columns, means 3 origins and 4 destinations, and the values written in the white boxes, they are the cost values, that if you transport some number of units of the product from O1 to say this O1 to D3, then the cost of transportation is 50 rupees per unit. This is the cost of transportation per 1 unit, and this 7, 9, 18, these are rim values, they are the supply values. Okay, that means from the origin O1 one can produce and sell maximum number of 7 items. From O2 one can sell maximum number of 9 items. So they can provide or supply 9 number of units of the particular product. Okay, and here this BJs, these are also rim values, they are the demand values. In the at the demand center D1, means in the city 1 for example, these are the different cities you can imagine, city 1, city 2, city 3, city 4. In city 1 the requirement or demand is 5 units of the product. In the city 2 requirement is 8 units of the product. In 3, 7, in 4 it is 14. Now to solve the TP, the first important thing is it should be a balanced TP, which we have understood in the last lecture. What is the meaning of balanced TP? The meaning of balanced TP is the total supply and total demand must be equal. Total supply means the sum of the AI values, sum of the rim values of A1, A2, A3, that you can see on your screen, 7, 9 and 18. This sum must be equal to the sum of the values of demand, 5 plus 8 plus 7 plus 14. And if it is satisfied, then it is called a balanced TP. So the first step to solve the TP using Modi method is this. Okay, the given TP must be a balanced TP, that is sigma AI is equal to sigma Bj. If it is not so, then we have to introduce or insert one dummy supply center or a dummy demand center with 0 cost values for each cell in that particular row or column. Means we insert extra row or column in the table with 0 values for cost values. Okay. Let us consider that problem again. Now you can see the total supply and total demand is 34 here in this south east corner. See, 7 plus 9 plus 18 is 34, 5 plus 8 plus 7 plus 14 is also 34. So this satisfies that condition, sigma AI is equal to sigma Bj. Okay. So therefore it is a balanced transportation problem. Okay. Once it is balanced, we can proceed further. As I told you, the first requirement is it should be a balanced transportation problem, and then after checking it is a balanced, we have to find an initial solution using one of those 3 methods which we have discussed in the previous lecture. The 3 methods are NWCM, LCM and Vogel's approximation method. Now here I will apply the Vogel's method, and let us find the initial solution using Vogel's method. This is the step 2, that one should find initial solution using one of the 3 methods. So I am applying Vogel's method, Vogel's approximation method, for finding the starting solution of the TP. And as you know, in the Vogel's method, one has to first find the values of penalties, and therefore, and it is an iterative process. So for different iterations, I have written 1, 2, 3. So first round of penalty, second round of penalty, third round of penalty, and so on. Okay, and these are this is our transportation table. Now, how to calculate penalties? So our first round of penalty, therefore it is here it is written number 1, here also 1. This is our main transportation problem. Now I want to calculate penalty for every row and every column. Penalty, as it is defined as the difference between the smallest and the next smallest value. So smallest here is in this row is 10, the next smallest is 19. So we subtract small number from the bigger number. So 19 minus 10 is 9, which is written here in the square box in this row, just beside the first row. So 9 is the penalty value of the first row. Then 10 is the penalty value for the second row. As you can see, the smallest value in the second row is 30, next smallest is 40. So 40 minus 30 is 10. For third row, smallest is 8 and the next smallest is 20. So 20 minus 8 is 12. So we have calculated penalties for all rows. Now let us go to the columns. In this first column, smallest is 19 and the next smallest is 40. So difference between them is 21. Then similarly for the second column, smallest is 8, next smallest is 30. So difference is 22. Third column, penalty value is 10 as it is 50 minus 40. And the fourth column, it is 20 and 10 are the smallest values. So 20 minus 10 is 10. So we have calculated penalties. Now after calculating penalties, our next step in the Vogel's method is we select the highest value of penalty. So here highest value is highlighted. It is 22. It is highlighted by the yellow mark. And in this particular column, we choose the smallest cost cell, that is a cell having the smallest cost value. Out of these three, you can see this is the smallest cost value. So we have to assign the value of the basic variable for this particular cell. So that will be our first basic variable using Vogel's method. How to assign the allocation for this particular cell? For that, we find the minimum of the rim values for this particular cell. For example, in this cell 3, 2, this is the cell number 3, 2, third row and second column. This is 8, which is demand value. This is 18, supply value. So minimum of 8 and 18 is 8. So I assign 8 here. That is our first basic variable. You can name it as x32, third row, second column. So it is x32. Now after allocation is made, we adjust the rim values. Okay, it is not written here. And then we delete, because this 8 will go. So yes, so this 8 will go, and it, because we allocated 8 here, so we delete this particular column. Wherever the demand or supply is exhausted, that particular row or column we delete here. Here the demand is exhausted, which becomes 0. So I have deleted this second column, and that which was 18 here, 18 minus 8 becomes 10. So this becomes 10. This supply value becomes 10. Now in the remaining table, again we calculate penalties, and we do not consider this second column for the calculation of penalty in the second round. So we go to the second round now. Here it is calculated all the penalties in the second round. You can see the values are changed, and this is the number 2 here. So second round of penalty, it indicates second round of penalty. And from all these penalty values, one has to choose highest value of penalty. What is the highest value here? You can see the highest value is 21. So I select 21, and then in this column I have to find out the smallest cost cell. The smallest cost cell was 19, and then we assign minimum of 7 and 5. So it is done here 5, and then we delete this particular this column, because 5 is taken here, so it becomes 0 and this becomes 2. So this column is deleted. Again for this third round, we calculate penalties only for the remaining cells. So only for these 2 columns and for these 3 rows, one has to calculate penalties in the third round. So it is done here. Now in this, highest value of penalty is what? 50. In this 50, in this row, one has to find the smallest cost cell, that is 20 here. In this 20, we allocate minimum of 10 and 14, so it is 10. Okay, so it is allocated 10, and hence this becomes 0 and this becomes 4. And then as this row is exhausted, we delete the row number 3. So this is deleted. Again do the same in the fourth round, and again allocate using this highest penalty in this particular cell 10, 2. This we have done in the last lecture, so I will go through it quickly. Okay, and then only these two cells remains in the last round. So we calculate penalty only for this particular. So highest value is 60, it is assigned 2, this is deleted. Again both are 40, we are assigned 7 here. So this way we have found these basic variables. My dear friends, you count how many basic variables are there, or how many yellow circles you can see on your screen in the transportation table. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. There are 6 basic variables. These yellow circles are called basic variables, or they are also known as occupied cells. And that means remaining cells, empty cells where there is no allocation made, are called unoccupied cells, or cells having non-basic variables. So our first solution is x11 is 5, second is x14 is 2, then this is what, x23 7, x24 2, then this is x32 8, and this is x34 10. And this, using Vogel's method, we have found the starting solution. As I told you, it is this solution, and the total cost of transportation using this solution is 779. Now our main question is whether this is an optimum value of the transportation cost or not, and that we can answer using Modi method. So our Modi method begins from this stage. So this was our solution which we obtained using Vogel's method.